Well, my friends, welcome back to part 3 of this display case build. In this video, my friends, it's all going to be about the trim, but before I show you about the trim, let me show you the lights. I don't know if I've done that yet or not. So we have 16 different lights, 6 different light shows, and then we have just the white lights. This is the called Fade 7 that you're looking at now. Kind of like that. But because of the way that the remote control is set up, if you just want to go to your white lights, you have to shut that off first. Then you can hit your white light setting, and then you can take it down to 25%. There's 50%, there's 75, and there's 100%. So if you want to dim it down a little bit more, you can go down to 25%, and then you can hit your dim button, and it will dim it down. Sometimes that's okay, but I kind of like a variety. One of the lights that I like, we go back to this multiple color, I like probably that color right there. It's barely on. Let's brighten that up a little bit so you can see it. That's what's called a yellow light. This one's orange. This one's like peach color. This is more of a darker orange, and this is the red one. Doesn't really do a good job of reflecting the light because the light in the room is on. But when I get going more and more and more on it, I'll be showing you the lights as we get done. So what I like to do is I like to talk about the trim and the trim pieces and how we're going to finish that out. And if you want to know more, please keep watching. Yeah, what I'm going to have to do is talk to you about some of the trim pieces that I'm going to do. So first thing I'm going to do is kind of show you what's going on here. First of all, I've got that bottom piece of trim on there, and as you can tell, it's not really nailed into it yet. The trailer house floor here kind of has a rise in this middle area here, so it's a little high here. So the first thing I have to do is scribe that bottom, and I'm going to have to take my belt sander and sand some of that bottom out. So one of the ways that I'm going to do that, let me show you. Help myself get down here. What I can do is take a carpenter pencil like this and find out kind of where that's high and low at. Kind of put my hand in the middle of it. Then you can just scribe with the pencil line all the way through there, and then it'll eventually back out to nothing. Then I'll go outside and I'll take my belt sander and I'll sand that whole piece of wood down to that base right there. I think that'll help a great deal. Around the top, what I'm going to use is this piece of trim. So I think I'll bring the camera a little bit closer so you can see a little bit better of what I'm going to be doing here. Let me get up. Getting old, it's hard to get up. You got to have a little stool. All right, let me bring the camera a little closer. All right, my friends, we've got it a little taller. I'm going to talk to you about the bottom trim. What I want to talk to you about now is how I'm going to box this out. So this trim, as you can see, has a flat spot on it. But on that corner up there, I've got to come up the wall against the wall like this. So that's the way it's going to come up the wall in that corner, and then it's got an angle to come across. But it's also going to take a miter right here. So over here in the corner, it's going to go up the wall, then it's going to lay flat coming here, then it's going to miter coming back here, and I don't know how far I'm going to do that side yet. So the first thing I'm going to establish is the measurement from the bottom shelf or the floor of the cabinet, which will be a piece of trim that's going to come from here. You can see where I'm pointing at, and then it's going to be measured to there. But that piece of trim has to be mitered at a 45 that's going to meet the 45 that's coming this way. Sometimes your trim pieces are a little bit difficult to understand, but if you understand your angles and how things lay, you have to visualize it on your miter saw when you get ready to cut that. I think the first thing I want to do is set my work area up, and I want to take my belt sander and sand that piece of trim off where I drew that line out, and then that will sit flat on that floor and follow the angle, and then that door will open up a little bit better. This is a door that I had built here, and as you can tell, the door doesn't open because of that trim being too high, and it's just the way it is. You gotta build your trim to the floor and to the cabinet, so it takes a little bit of work. So I'm going to establish that side piece and the front piece coming across. I'm going to sand that bottom piece down. When I get those done, I'll show you what it's going to look like. This end of this wall is a whole different ball game. I actually found a piece of trim from doing the rest of the house that is actually long enough to go down on the bottom. But I'm going to have to pull this bottom in just a little bit at the bottom and the top to make it more level. I guess that's tongue language. Just has a little bit of an angle. It's pretty close, but I want it a little bit closer to the wall because there's a pretty big gap right there. So we'll establish this with this top piece up here and the bottom piece when I get that all together. Then I'm going to take the same knotty pine that I put in there, and then I'm going to run knotty pine through here, and then I'll just stop right here somewhere so it covers that gap up. We'll put a decorative piece of trim on it, and I think that'll look good. But let me get the trim done that I've already talked about, and I think we're going to have a pretty cool layout here. I don't have enough of that corner trim to come this way. I'll have to do that a little bit later. My main focus was to try to get this front side done as far as I can, because we're in the Christmas season now and we want to set up our Christmas tree right there. So why don't you keep watching and I'll come back as soon as I get some of this trim worked out and show you how it's going to lay in there. Well, how y'all doing? Welcome back to another day of the cabinet build here. I wanted to show you that I do have the bottom trim secured. I got the trim coming up the side and across the front here. And as you can see, we have our Christmas tree installed there. So what I like to do is I like to show you what the trim looks like now that I have it all done, at least on the front of it. I think it looks pretty cool. We got to do some thinking on this end, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to back the camera up and let you see the whole thing with the Christmas tree sitting in front of it. I think that's an important part for you to see, because in the last video footage I said we wanted to set up our Christmas tree, and it kind of works pretty good right in front of that. But for you to see that, you need to stand up with me. I'm actually sitting down in this chair right here so I can talk to you about it. But to get the full visual effect, I think it's best for us to stand up. I'm going to turn that Christmas tree on. It is December 5th, and it's about 9:30 in the morning. So we do have a partly cloudy to sunny day outside. The dishwasher is going in the other room. So actually right next to this one. I'm liking what I see here, my friends, but I want you to see it. So let's back the camera up a little bit and let's make it go a little taller so you can see. Well, there you have it, my friends. We have the Christmas tree lights on. Let me kill the overhead light. There, you can see a little bit more. That window over here is open, putting the glare right behind it. So keep that closed up. Didn't help very much. A little bit better anyway. So that's what it looks like with the Christmas tree on it. And you can see the display case down there. So what I like to do is kick on my lights that I have here on the display case. And you can't go right to the TV. You have to have a direct line of sight to the little controller. So I just kicked on a red bulb. We got red bulbs on the tree here. The next color that I see on the tree is yellow, so let's go to yellow. So now we have yellow to match. The next thing I see is a light colored blue. So we got a light colored blue. What else do I see in there? I see a green. It was on green when we started, but that's about the shade of the green right there that I see. I know I'm seeing a color of purple in there. So that's the shade of purple that I see. That's a really pretty color. So I want to show you the trim mostly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get down on my hands and knees. I'm going to pull that tree out of the way so you can see what I'm seeing. And we're going to show you the trim. And now I'm going to show you that we have no more light bleed coming between the countertop and the trim. So the first thing I want to do is shut the Christmas tree lights off, and then I'm going to move you a little closer, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So let me get that done, and we'll be right back. Yeah, I'm back. So we're focused right along here, and I want to show you that I resolved the light bleed. You know that there was a lot there. There's still some over here, right where my fingers are at right now. I wanted to show you that for a specific reason. When I push up on it, it disappears, so it's got to get nailed in there. We're going to talk about that. But let me kind of push through some different light sequences, and let me go bright on it. So the only light that you're seeing from this is over here in the corner. Of course, you're seeing the lights that are reflecting up on the top. I do have a high gloss shine on here, so the light is going to bounce off of it a little bit more at the top up there because they're along this edge here. If I would have put them on the top and had them shine down, I think that probably would have been better. But we learn as we go, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick the lights back on. I'll go ahead and shut these lights off here. Again, a direct line of sight to be able to shut it off. Now they're off. Kick the lights back on here. Now you're seeing it from the daylight view. I'll throw these lights back on too. So now let me point out some of the pretty amazing details that I've gotten done here. The first detail that you're going to notice is the trim is done down along the base down here. I'm just going to point at it a little bit and show you. I don't want to get in the view of the camera. So that trim that I was talking about that went in the corner, it's already in place there, as you can see. So I got to put that corner piece in down there, and because there's a little bit more of a play there in order to get that in. This is the corner piece that goes in there, but as you can tell, I had to add some pieces to it. But I'll be staining the sides and the top of this again, and then I'll put it down in there and I'll nail it in place, and I think it'll work pretty good. And then, so you start down there, you come up here, and then you miter it the same way, and then it runs over here. And like you've seen, there's no light bleed in there. I also replaced some of the trim that I had in here originally with the same kind of trim that's up here. As I told my wife, these are upside down horseshoes. Whenever you see a upside down horseshoe, it means that you're holding the luck in. If the horseshoe would be the other way, it means that your luck is running out. So I don't believe in luck. I believe in the power of prayer and my faith in my Heavenly Father, but it's nice to be able to see those horseshoes on there. So this trim here matches the trim that is exposed right here. And of course there's a flat edge on the top that'll help hold that glass that's going that way. So what I'd like to talk to you now about is this trim over here. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit closer so you can see what this looks like, and I'm going to show you some of my dilemma here and some of the things that I have to figure out. And being this video is all about trim, let's check it out. I think that's a pretty cool view. I did this on purpose. It wasn't an accident. I wanted to cover this end up. But if you look inside the display case, you see the knotty pine back here paneling. Well, it extends around to the outside. And if you look over there at that door over there, it's also got the knotty pine on the outside of it. So I think it all kind of blends in. So this piece of trim matches what's around the other side. This is just laying in here loosely. It's not long enough to cover this up, but so I can pull it out. So this edge is sitting right on top of this, and then there's a little bit of a lip over here. But as we have a continuous piece of trim over here, do I continue my piece of trim there and just stain this end? How is that going to look? If I put that in there. I think what I like to do is have you see from the other side, so you can see this corner over here, kind of from what I'm seeing. So I'll change the camera angle around again, so you're sitting from over here. I'm thinking I might like that idea, but I want to get the piece of trim that I'm going to put here and see how it's going to look up against this. I think this is pretty much flush here, but this has got more of a reveal over there. But let me show the other side of this end here. Well, there's the piece of trim that actually pops into that corner. And that's the trim that I got. Put it out to the edge so it comes flush with that cabinet. It still covers up my gap. So what do I do up here? I think I'm just gonna leave that straight up there. I think that'll look best. I'm gonna stain this trim here the same color as the base trim and this trim there. Okay, I like that better like that. So let's put it over here on this side. This side's gonna have to be a lot longer, but I think that's gonna look pretty good too. Let's pop this piece out of here again. And let's put it over here to see how this is gonna look at the top. I think that looks pretty good. Even now I'm gonna have to keep this side tight. So it'll have to, I think that's just the way it's gonna have to be, but it actually boxes this piece out. So I like that. This here, because it's gonna sit on top of that piece of molding there at the bottom, not gonna see that gap. I'm gonna make it flush that outside edge. I think that's gonna look the best. So I'm gonna go ahead and stain this piece. Then I'm gonna measure a piece that comes in here on this side. We'll set it in there and we'll get it stained as well. And then I'm gonna cut this piece to fit the size, and then we'll get it stained as well. I think that's gonna look the best. What I wanna do is stain this, the natural stain, and put some varnish on there, and I'll stain those other pieces, the darker color. I think this thing's gonna pop. So let me get my pieces cut and get that piece cut and get it stained, get this stained, and let's come back and look at how this trim actually looks on here when I get this all assembled. I'll see you in a bit. Well, welcome back to another day of this part 3 video on finishing the trim. As you can tell, I've got it done. I've got it installed. I've even got this paneling on the end. So the only thing I got left to do is a couple of coats of varnish. So I'm on my first coat of varnish. I thought it'd be cool to have you see the transition of the gloss. So I've got the varnish on this one, and this one. So as I progress and finish these 4 out, you're going to see the quality of the difference. I put a natural stain on the knotty pine here, but this kind of gives it, I guess, like a yellowish tint to it, almost like a, changes the color of it, puts a shine on it. I noticed when I did that on the inside, it actually see the reflection of the Christmas lights and stuff in it. So that'll be cool if it actually shows that reflection. And I think the more you put this stuff on, the more it shines. So you can see that starting to come to life in the video there. All I have left to do is finish staining the trim on the front, make the door frames, and then get the glass in it. I think what I'll do is I'll make a video by itself of how I make the door frames. It's probably pretty simple if you've done this before, but for those people that haven't done it, or for those people that haven't seen me do it, I think the next video on this display case should be seeing me build those. Really like that shine. And because it's sitting in the house, I can't pick it up and take it outside to do the work. So I'm going to have to deal with the smell, I guess. Well ventilated area, but it's like 24 degrees outside. But I'll just have to turn the fan on, I guess, and let it rotate for a while. But I'll probably put a couple more coats on it. So I like it to shine. I don't know if putting more coats on it helps it, but the directions say to put at least a minimum of 2 on there. You know, do like a really light sanding over it with some fine sandpaper, and then do a second coat. And if desired, you could do additional coats, but I think 2 coats is sufficient. When I learned how to build furniture in school, they always told me to put 3 coats on it, just because it helps to seal it better and to make it shine more. So I'll probably do that to the whole thing eventually, but I don't want to have to move that Christmas tree a bunch of times, so I'm just going to do this in because it's the most visible area right now. So as you can tell now, we have that gloss on all of it. So a little tip, if you're going to repeat this in a couple hours, the stuff is going to get hard that I just put on there. But if I put it in a plastic bag, it'll postpone the life of the brush. And if I come back when this is dry and do a light sanding, I should be able to use that same brush. Hopefully that's the idea and the concept. So I'll probably go ahead and finish this video out now, because you've basically seen everything about this cabinet. As far as the trim goes, you've seen the framework, and you've seen the electrical work and some of those fine things. So I think that'll wrap up this part 3 of this cabinet rebuild. And just remember, when you do this in your own home, in your own time, to do at least 2, maybe even 3 coats of varnish. I think that'll help a lot. One of the things that I forgot to do is clean off my stir stick. You know, got it in that bucket, so just want to get it cleaned off, and maybe just go over this again and put some more of your brush varnish on there so it dries it out. Helps your brush to stay moist if you don't have so much of the stuff sitting in there. So I think that'll be pretty good. One thing that I have not done in my house since I've remodeled it is actually varnish the baseboard and the casing and the doors. That's something that needs to be done, but it's real time consuming, you know, and it leaves an odor in the house, and being I'm disabled, I'm home all the time, you know, so maybe I don't want to do it. Maybe I should have found some varnish that would have the stain in there, and then I wouldn't have had to varnish it too. But I enjoy doing the word work. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So let's do a visual section of footage on this from a distance with it as done as far as it is. So let me change that camera angle and let you see the whole thing. Well, that gives a pretty cool reflection of the lights in that high gloss. That's kind of why I chose it. You can see them in there. So what I like to do is just go ahead and put you down on the floor here. So let's just check this out. So now you can really see the Christmas lights reflecting in that high gloss. Let's give it a little bit more of a tour here. You can see kind of back in that display area a little bit better. Back you up a little bit here. Wow, look at what that light does too, that just did. Seeing a light reflection from the light coming through the window, shining on that area that I just did. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Bend you up a little bit here. Hey, my friends, I think that's a pretty amazing display case. So like I said, the next video I'll be building the doors, and we'll be getting the glass. So let's turn our yellow light back on, and I think that's pretty cool. Well, my friends, I think what I'll do is I'll put you back up on a high area so you can see it from where I stand at. Hold on. Well, my friends, I'm standing here in the middle of the afternoon. It's actually 10 a.m. in the morning here when I'm shooting this video. So you're seeing the bright light of the sun coming through the window. I got it as dark as I could get it, but you're actually seeing the display case. What I like to do is I like to put it on a fade. Let me do that now for you. Well, let's kind of watch that fade a little bit, and we'll have it fade back to the red color. And I'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. The next part of this video will come out probably sometime in January. I'm just going to let that fade back into red, and then we'll close this video out. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you'd subscribe to this channel, you'll be able to see more of my videos, my personal lifestyle videos. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year.